Good morning and welcome, listeners. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 1220 AM and 98.1 FM. This is SCVi Charter Schools, Our Way on the Highway. And I'm Amber Raskin, founder and CEO of SCVi Charter in Santa Clarita, and I lead schools nationally. And I'm here with my co-host, Matt Watson.
Good morning. So this month on Our Way on the Highway, SCVi's monthly radio program here on KHTS, falls during our school's winter break. So our learners are on break, but we will hear from a few of our students in the second half of the show. But first, Amber and I are joined by City Council member Laurene Weste. Welcome, Ms. Weste.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So first of all, we'd like to congratulate you on your recent re-election to the Santa Clarita City Council. In fact, I think you're celebrating your 20th year with Santa Clarita and on the City Council.
I am.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for your service.
So great to be so young and elected.
So there are a lot of anniversaries, including your own with the City Council, that we're celebrating here in Santa Clarita. I believe COC is celebrating the 10th anniversary of its Canyon Country campus. The city itself is celebrating 30 years. And at our school, SCVi, we're celebrating a milestone year as well. SCVi has now been open for 10 years.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. And it's to be part of the landscape of Santa Clarita and watching how it's grown since I personally moved here 21 years ago, and in the 10 years since the school opened has been so incredible. And that brings me to something else that I'd love to talk about, which is on Monday I had the honor of having coffee with Ms. Weste and Councilmember Weste, and we talked about your tenure in Santa Clarita, and I mentioned to my husband when I went home just how inspired I was by the things that you've accomplished while you've been here. It's been, since I moved here, you've always been on the City Council, and to watch the city transform has been amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I think Santa Clarita is just amazingly unique. I can't imagine anywhere else that has done so much in such a short period of time. We were the largest city ever formed at one time with the populations we had. And people say, oh, wasn't Santa Clarita always like this? And these are, of course, people that have come recently. And I go, no, it's so dramatically different than it was when we incorporated. It was a turning point. We either took hold of the heart and soul of our community and started leading toward the goals and how we really wanted to live and who we really wanted to be, and or we were going to just be like some other valleys that don't have that community spirit, don't feel like they're interconnected, and we've done that. I thank the city formation for having the grit to go a third time to create the city. They tried twice with the county formation and lost, and I was very young and I was learning, and Connie Warden Roberts told me I had to get involved, and I said, I don't like cities. I was a hometown girl here, country, riding a horse downtown Newhall here, and she said, well, it won't be like other cities. That woman was a genius, and she was correct. She was co-chair of city formation. So, we started out doing everything couldn't be done. We formed a city. We now have 11,000 acres of open space this year acquired that's held by the city. There's another 11,000 acres that's held with our JPA partners, Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, on the west side of the 5, all the way from Albany Park up to the Ventura County line and the Santa Clara River. So, and then you've got forestry, and we're working on the rim of the valley. We started with 0 trails. 0. Now you have over 90 miles. And what's neat about our trails, off-street, everybody, multi-use gets to use them. But we did really hard things, like we went under major intersections, under bridges. And the thing that's fun about that is, everybody said, no, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it. The fact is we did do it, and it's been great for the families, great for our children. And what's interesting now is the pace. Just the pace bikes just got put out there.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I always said we will eventually be a tourism attraction, and we are.
Yeah.
And it's not about Magic Mountain. I mean, we love Magic Mountain, and great employer.
You know, you mentioned something very important. I've lived in this valley for nearly 40 years now, and I've seen the city grow since well before it was a city, and it's always been a thoughtful growth. You're absolutely right. The city council and the different committees have always been very thoughtful about how we grow, making sure that the city grows and according to the vision that its residents have. And so I want to thank you and your colleagues for that, especially the dedication to preserving the open spaces and the parklands and things like that. I know that's been a passion of yours for a long time.
I am passionate about parks and nature, and I think that is one of the best things we can do for our mental health, as well as the stability and growth and how our children will react in their lives, being healthy and feeling stable. So that has made a huge difference in our community. We went from 7 parks, by the way, to 34 now.
Wow.
It's a lot of parks.
We're getting close to doubling in size from 21 years ago when I moved here. It's not too far away.
Not too far.
Yeah. And I thought that was so fascinating when I was sort of researching some of that. Besides what I know intuitively from being here, the as you said, the thoughtful growth. And when when we were moving here, we're just like, I mean, frankly, just looking for a suburb, right? And we're like, we could go more west, we could go more north, and we chose more north because we were in Glendale at the time. And I didn't realize what a beautiful community it was that we chose. And I feel so fortunate that we accidentally chose to be here. And now whenever I travel or, we have charters in other areas, when we go to other communities, it always reminds me how grateful I am for the big city, small town feel that we have.
Yeah, that's very interesting. As you mentioned, we're the third largest city in Los Angeles County, right behind Los Angeles City, then Long Beach. And when you think of those two cities and then Santa Clarita, there's a definite contrast there. So what is it that the city council and other representatives in our city, what is it that they've done in order to intentionally keep that small town feel, that homey feel, while at the same time continuing to grow?
Well, Santa Clarita has a different philosophy. We had to roll up our sleeves and work hard to work our way out of issues that were forming. You said something key, just another suburb, and the whole point of Santa Clarita was to never be just another suburb, just another interconnected space. You're geographically isolated by the Los Padres, San Gabriel's, and Santa Susana, so you're not going to interconnect to all those other municipalities, which is perfect for the lifestyle. But we're an interesting community because we formed in the 1800s right here where we are, Old Town Newhall. I mean, Wells Fargo going through, the railroad, the wildcatters for oil, the gold diggers. I'm sure every farmer was hiding his daughter around the valley. But, where we are was the core of history in this valley, and it was pretty badly disintegrated by the time we became a city. And so we have worked really hard to bring back our history, to create an atmosphere where families can actually really prosper together as a family unit. There's sports, and there's music, and there's art, and we've really focused this year. I really focused a lot on art and bringing that to life. The Newhall Family Theater, I was delighted. It took almost 20 years to get that done. And this last Saturday night, they had I wanted to go. I was doing something else I couldn't avoid, but they had the youth orchestra play in that beautiful, amazing theater. It is stunning. It was closed down from the 71 earthquake till just this last year, and we worked so hard to get it up there. But to see those children, I looked in the paper today in the Signal, and to see those children playing and their families there in a full, magnificent theater, this is the goal. It's to create that atmosphere where there's improvements made that the community can gather around and use, and whether it be parks or theaters or we're getting the Lemley Theater, places to go to see other kinds of film, whether you're out on the trails with your kids or you're out hiking in nature or you're over at the Placer Nature Center. I mean, there's a million things to do, and we wanted a healthy community. So we're focused on that, and we're trying to do that.
You're absolutely right. Amber and I recently attended the State of the City luncheon, and thank you very much for your presentation as well as your colleagues. But it was fascinating to see all the things that you see on a daily basis kind of come together to see that master plan and the vision that you and the rest of the City Council have. Driving around town, we see cones from time to time, and we think, oh, what's going on over there? But to see that it's part of a very clear vision to help our city continue to absorb the growth, but at the same time, be able to flow and function well and have all those wonderful offerings to have. It just hit my inbox this morning, the things to do around the city from KHTS this morning.
It's
and
huge.
It was
Huge list.
Yeah, it's great.
It is every
it's great.
week.
And it's interesting because when you see cones on the other side of the hill or the 2 hills over, it's usually filming, right? But interestingly, there is a lot of filming here as well. I mean, we're in the 30-mile zone, and a lot of people don't know that. And 30-mile zone is where you can work, and it's still a local place to work when you're on a film. But do you?
Well, the filming, we are the most film valley. We have more filming than anywhere. We've worked really hard to make the filming permit process very fluid. We are in that 30-mile zone, which means it's not an overtime to go to that job site.
Yeah.
So we're doing great. You got every kind of film being shot here, and you got multiple movie ranches, and it's doing great for our economy, and the film industry loves it, and they love our open space.
They do. There's a lot of period pieces, movies that are meant to be set a long time ago that are filmed just behind that building, just behind that shopping center where we've got these beautiful open spaces.
So that building that kind of community and that kind of welcoming for the film industry and all of the things that you have built, that doesn't happen overnight, right?
No, it's taken a really long time. And every one of those things that we talk about, whether it's theaters or arts or Old Town Newhall or the entire trail system, which is now over 90 miles, or the open space, which we lost in 2006, and I took it up in 2007 and got it passed. It was very difficult because every single thing we've done, you can't do it. You can't do it. It can't be done.
Yeah.
It won't work. It's too late.
Yeah.
Heard all that. Santa Clarita is a can-do kind of community, and we do it. We get it done, and I'm proud to be able to lead and help make those things happen. But I'm really kind of selfish. I didn't want to move.
Well, you are an inspiration to me personally, and watching your commitment and persistence over the years is something that when I feel downtrodden in working on the things that I work on, I look to what you've done, and I'm very, very grateful to you for that.
Absolutely, and it is that spirit that I've come to love about the place that I work as well at SCVi Charter School and I Lead Schools. You're absolutely right. It's not the can we do it, but how can we do it spirit that mirrors the community that we're in, Santa Clarita. There is no such thing as can't. And you talk about thoughtful growth. Our school organization has grown quite a bit. Laurene, I'm sure you remember those early days because you were there.
I was.
You were there with us. And, we started that first day. And, Amber, you're going to have to help me. We started that first day with about 120 students.
The first day was about 75. We ended the year with about 125. So the first year was 125 at another location, not where SCVi is right now. It was on Smythe Drive. And then we moved after the first year to where we are now in Castaic. And today we have about 1,200 students there. And we've expanded other schools as well.
And so now we have about 6 locations here in Southern California. And how many students?
About 5,000 nationwide. So outside of California, it's a slightly different setup, but they've adopted our model, and it's been an incredible journey that I didn't expect. I didn't expect when I was really just looking for something for my own kids that was a little different, that so many other people would also want that. And it's been an amazing journey. And Laurene being there that first year.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. And now that we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary and all that growth in just one short decade, Amber, I do believe you have an announcement that that we have to make in regards to Councilmember Weste and SCVi's 10th anniversary.
Yes, and I'm going to turn this around for the camera because we're also on Facebook Live. I'm not sure where that's good.
So if you go to
numbers.
KH,
We were picking
Yeah,
numbers.
So that was it's actually our second lottery, but it was our first year. Our first lottery was the year before we opened. There was people were invited, but nobody came. It was Dr. Stern at Valencia Pediatrics and I in her lobby pulling names.
she was my pediatrician when I was a little boy.
And she was my kid's pediatrician too. But and so the second year, Laurene came and we did the lottery there on Smythe Drive, knowing that we were moving at the time. And so now, in the spirit of the milestones that the city and that SCVi and I Lead are having, we have asked, and she has accepted, Council Member Stern, I'm talking about Dr. Stern, Council Member Weste, to be our honoree at this year's benefit dinner. And we're so grateful. She's come many times and supported us at the dinner. And this year, she's going to be our honoree. And we actually have Kenchi Ragsdale in studio with us to talk about it a little bit as well, because he is on the Scarlet Board, which is our foundation running the dinner. So thank you for agreeing.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Hi, this is Kenchi Ragsdale. I'm the president of the Scarlet Foundation. We're the fundraising arm at SCVi, a separate 501c3, and we're so thrilled to have you this year at our Vision and Education dinner. I'm just getting to know you, and you seem pretty amazing. I would say, like, with all the talk of you can't do this, you can't do that, you seem kind of like a miracle worker, just in the and just in hearing what's happened here, and I've gained a new appreciation of Santa Clarita in general, just in these last 5 minutes. So we're really excited to have you.
Well, I'm excited. I just want to say, I think you exemplify with SCVi. Just another thing about Santa Clarita, it's like you're probably told you couldn't do it either.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But if you have a vision and if something is really good for the greater good for everybody, then you can do it. You just have to work harder and longer.
Oh, absolutely, and it requires great vision and dedication to that vision, and the award that you're going to be honored with is called the Vision in Education Award.
Yes, and I was looking for the definition of it. It's on our website, but it is to somebody who exemplifies vision in education for the community. I mean, usually there's some tie to us, which there has been with you, but it's really to honor and thank you for your service, for what you've done for education in the entire community. And you, as we've already talked about, have done that over and over and over again. So thank you for that.
I am blessed.
And this being SCVi's 10th anniversary is a big milestone, so it's really exciting that you're continue to be part of the school.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It requires vision to help shift education. We're in the midst of a great shift nationwide, even worldwide, in education. Strangely, while educators should be on the forefront, we often lag behind, other industries in changing things. I think it's because we've all gone to school and we all have the notion that school should be done the way it's always been done. And it's particularly difficult in a community like ours that has such great schools that have performed so well and done so many exciting things academically, athletically, in the arts, to understand the reason that, well, why do things need to change? But the world is changing so quickly, and you've helped us move that shift in this valley from before SCVi opened, we didn't have any classroom-based charters, to several different charters in the area where parents truly have a choice where they can send their children.
Well, I think we have to remember that life is a lifelong learning curve. If you think you can, you think you can't, you're right. We want our children to think they can.
Absolutely.
That's the important thing. And I just want to say very quickly, not all children fit in the same slot.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well, and I was thinking, my son goes to SCVi now. He's in the 3rd grade, and he's definitely an outlier amongst kids. He's really imaginative and does his own thing, and we're really thankful for this choice.
Yeah, that's who we wound up serving, and from the early days. And what I think was always in my heart was the outliers. My daughter, who is very smart, but an outlier, I thought she just needed something different. And the reason I spotted it was because that was me as a kid. So to be able to now help this generation find their what matters to them and feel really inspired by their education, that's really the goal.
I went to really progressive schools as a kid too, and my wife went to very traditional schools, and so for her this was a whole new alien landscape, and for me it was like, oh yeah, this makes total sense.
There's a whole other show in that someday, because we have an awful lot of people who come, and maybe there's one parent who who really embraces it, and the other parent is a little more nervous about it.
We just knew that we were looking for something different, and this is what we found.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're glad to have you in our community,
Thanks.
Kenshi. And we're so grateful to you for accepting the award.
My profound pleasure to be of assistance, and I'm very honored to be acknowledged. I thought the school was a good thing for a segment of our kids, and it has worked dramatically well for them. I think all kids, the most important thing I can do for them is get them to read and get them to do a little bit of art, which expands the brain. Music, of course, which is why I focus this year on arts and music and creating a coloring book of history and
Love
art.
That was wonderful.
Talk about that coloring book, because people need to know they can find it on the website.
Oh, well, it's the coloring book that I unveiled at State of the City, and it is the arts and the history of the Santa Clarita Valley. So the teachers that are teaching that, is it 3rd or 4th grade? Right in there.
I think it's 3rd grade.
3rd grade.
Yeah.
They can just go online, and the entire coloring book with all the historic sites is in there. They can download it for free, and the kids can color it so they can connect. So it's a great thing for the kids and the teachers.
Okay, we'll hear just a little bit more about that. Right now, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned, though, because when we come back, we're going to talk with some SCVi students. Are you staying with us for the next segment?
I don't think so. I think we're bringing in some of our student scientists. But Laurene, we want to thank you for your time.
Thrilling.
Thank you for your continued support of our city, of our community, and of our schools.
And we're looking forward to seeing you on March 9th.
And when we come back, we'll have students that just sent something to space.
This is your hometown station, KHTS.
Life's not meant to feel complacent. It's meant to make you feel alive. The youth ministry at the Church on the Way Santa Clarita believes that students can belong to the group where we will help them believe they have a purpose in Christ and become all that He has created them to be. We want to see God's power come alive in our generation. We love meeting new people, so come hang out with us. Doors open at 6 p.m. and service starts at 7 every Wednesday night. For more information about the Church on the Way Santa Clarita, including service times and what's happening through the end of the year, visit tcotwsc.org.
Live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia. Come in and try our great tasting smoothies, protein shakes, acai, and wheatgrass for your healthy lifestyle on the go. Also, enjoy our 10 flavors of tantalizing zinc frozen yogurt and selection of healthy toppings. Juice It Up Valencia is located at the corner of Newhall Ranch Road and Copper Hill Drive in the Office Depot Plaza. Open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. and Sundays from 8 until 8. And remember to live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia.
You've been assigned to plan your office party. Time to bring in the experts. AV Party Rentals is your go-to place for the most innovative holiday party ideas. AV's been planning Santa Clarita events from giant galas to intimate gatherings for longer than, well, since Rudolph was a young fawn. AV will turn your office party into a winter wonderland. See the latest holiday displays at Santa Clarita's favorite wedding, party, and holiday event rental store, AV Party Rentals on Newhall Avenue and at avpartyrental.com.
Comfort Keepers provides your loved one with loving in-home care.
Miles McNamara, certified senior advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers in-home care.
Our caregivers can help you in your own home, enhancing independence, creating safety and comfort. Our Comfort Keepers provide companionship, meal preparation, medication reminders, assistance with personal care, and even transportation to doctor's appointments. If someone you love can use a helping hand at home, visit comfortkeepers.com.
Or call 287-4200.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign, next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Bob, I don't believe you.
You're jaded, Blanche.
Read my lips, Bob. You've had a history of exaggeration.
It's true. They're building Castaic High School.
Castaic High, like in Castaic, California.
That's right, Blanche.
Prove it, Bob.
Go to your computer, type in CastaicHighProject.com, and get free and frequent updates.
What's that web address again?
CastaicHighProject.com.
With fervor, like you really mean it.
CastaicHighProject.com.
KHTS. Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM 1220, your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 1220 on the AM dial and 98.FM. This is Amber Raskin, your co-host, along with Matt Watson, on Our Way on the Highway. Welcome back.
Welcome back in, and during this segment, we're being joined by 4 of the learners from SCVi. You know, on a parenthetical, at SCVi, we do things a little bit differently, and we use our language a little bit differently. We call our students learners. They're not just passively absorbing some of the knowledge that their facilitators or teachers pass on to them. So we're being joined by 4 of our learner scientists here in the studio, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves before we get started talking about some truly amazing things that they've been working on. So why don't we start with you, Luke?
I'm Luke. I'm a 9th grader at SCVi Charter School.
I'm Connor Raskin. I'm a junior.
I'm Isabel. I'm also a 9th grader.
I'm Brayden. I'm also a junior.
Now, school's on winter break right now, right?
Yep.
So hopefully we didn't wake you up too early to get in here. We know that you guys have been working particularly hard. You guys are always working hard, but lately you guys have really been working hard on an interesting project, doing a little bit of travel as well.
Mm-hmm.
So which one of you can kind of give us an introduction on this project that you're here to talk about today?
So we're here to talk about a project that we actually got sent up to the International Space Station. So our project was based on coffee and your teeth and how it affects astronauts in space.
So wait a minute, let's just walk that back for our listeners, because that can surprise some people. So you all put together a project at school, a science experiment, correct?
Yep.
And then that experiment is actually being conducted on like the real International Space Station that's orbiting Earth right now.
Yeah.
Connor, can you tell us a little bit about that?
About our experiment.
So tell us about the Dream Up program and what it's designed to do.
So the Dream Up program is it's a program that allows students to be able to create an experiment and to test something that matters to astronauts or even down here on Earth, and perform it in microgravity, and when it comes back down, look at the results and get to go through the scientific process.
Okay, so you conduct an experiment here on Earth and in the classroom, and then you send that same experiment up to the space station to have NASA scientists conduct it for you. So they're actually following your specifications. How cool is that?
That's
very cool.
exciting.
So Connor mentioned, and Brayden, I want to direct this to you. Connor mentioned microgravity. So I always assumed that up in space, once you break the Earth's atmosphere, we're at zero gravity, but that's not necessarily true. Can you describe kind of the idea of microgravity?
So what microgravity is the space station's in orbit around the Earth, so it still has gravity, but it's being held, because it's going around the Earth, it's still got gravity, which allows the astronauts to float, but because they're in like almost a constant free fall.
Oh wow! So rather than not falling, which a lot of us consider no gravity, just never falling, they're actually constantly falling. That's the idea of microgravity.
Yeah.
Okay, so Isabel, now let's get back to that idea. So our astronauts, they need their coffee just like I needed to get up and get ready for the radio show this morning. And so tell us again that you're testing what the effects of coffee on an astronaut or any of us when we start colonizing Mars and things like that, coffee on our teeth?
So practically, on your teeth you have plaque, and that causes decay. And in space, because of the microgravity, it's accelerated. And so down here on Earth, black coffee kills the plaque on your teeth. And so we were wondering if it would do the same in space, and if it would help to stop or slow down at least tooth decay for astronauts.
So the idea that coffee is actually healthy for dental hygiene, that's great news, Amber.
I know, it's great news for us on Earth as well. Yes.
So go ahead, Luke.
It's important to know that it's not any coffee, it's black coffee. So once you add any creamer or sugar to that coffee, it kind of starts feeding the bacteria.
Oh, that's a bummer. So I'm going to have to see if maybe I shift up my habits a little bit. So I know that you guys are kind of hemmed in a little bit with this experiment by some pretty rigid specifications. You have a very limited amount of space, and very certain specifications. So tell me what it is that you have to work with in order to conduct your experiment.
So actually we have a little tube This tube has 2 dividers, which we can put. It separates the tube into 3 sections. We can put different things in there. In our specific experiment, we have in one tube the bacteria itself. We have a solution which is like saliva, and the final tube is coffee. So we really don't have a lot of space to work with.
So you have something about the size of a test tube for our listeners to kind of get an idea, but it's flexible, kind of like surgical tubing, and then you've clamped off 2 sides so that you can separate the 3 different substances, correct?
Yep.
Okay,
exactly.
And then now you all have written this experiment and given very exact instructions to the astronauts, to the NASA scientists, as to what to do and when to do it. So, Luke, how long is your experiment going to be in space?
So it's going to be in space for a few weeks. We're only actually doing the experiment. It's going to be up there. We're only actually starting the experiment 4 days before it comes back down. So 4 days before it comes back down, they'll unclamp one of the clamps, and that'll activate the bacteria that we have up there, and it'll mix it with the saliva solution. And then 2 days later, they'll mix in the coffee. And they'll see how much it kills compared down to here on Earth.
Okay, so right now it's actually just kind of sitting on the coffee table up there on the space station.
Yes.
Coffee table, no pun intended. And then with just a few days left before it's returned, then they're actually going to start conducting the experiment.
Does something happen here on Earth while that experiment is up there? Can somebody share that with us, how that works?
Yes, well, so while there's the one up in space, we actually have 2 of the exact same thing down here on Earth, which are our controls, so that we can compare them, because there's no point sending something up if we don't know if it's changing or doing anything different than it might down here on Earth. So we're going to be performing the exact same experiment with the test tube we have down here on Earth at approximately the same time, with the same dates, same time period, and so we're then going to be able to compare to see if the test tube that was in space killed more bacteria or if it killed less bacteria. So we'll be able to find those results better.
So you have the one on Earth, you have the one that you sent to go to the space station, and you went to Florida. Tell us about Florida. What was it like to watch that and to know that your experiment was on it?
So again, to give our listeners, to give our listeners a little bit of background, I think most of us know that Florida is the Kennedy Space Center is the place where most launches take place, and so your experiment was sent up on, I think, SpaceX, Elon Musk's limousine. Isn't that right, Braden?
Yeah, so we went to Florida to present our project at the Mars Theater at the Kennedy Space Station, along with other groups of students throughout the U.S. from all different types of schools, and we all presented, and then we were shuttled out to a launch site, and we watched the launch of one of the rockets carrying all of the experiments.
Wow, that must have been just so surreal to see an experiment that you all designed in your high school. Then you're presenting it to a national audience at the Kennedy Space Center, and then you're watching it being launched on SpaceX up to the space station.
Have any of you ever been to a space launch before?
Yeah, I have actually. So I went sometime last year. I actually wasn't able to watch the launch. It got scrubbed, as they commonly do, and I had to go home before the launch could happen. But I was able to watch the presentation of the students who were setting up an experiment that year.
And what you talked about launches being scrubbed. Can you explain that? I'm not sure that everyone knows what that means.
So scrubbed means the launch got canceled or moved. It happens a lot with launches. I mean, it could be like bad weather or a bird flying over the rocket or like someone in a plane flying nearby. It's a lot of
But you saw it this year, so it didn't happen this year?
No, it went pretty smoothly.
Well, I think the initial launch got scrubbed for a couple of days, and I thought it was kind of a funny reason. You guys got bumped a day or two. For what reason?
It was, I'll let you talk.
So on that plane, they were sending up food for mice. And because they have mice on the ISS, and they're doing experiments with the mice, and they found out that when they were loading, that some of the mice food was moldy, so they had to delay the launch a day because the mice didn't have food.
Check your expiration date, folks. Okay, so kind of a quick sum up. You've designed this experiment here to figure out whether black coffee is going to help more or less in space, help our dental hygiene. You've written the specifications for the astronauts to follow. You've now been to Florida. You've launched this experiment into space. It's now waiting to be conducted. Once it gets conducted, you're at the same time conducting the same experiment here on Earth. Then what happens with your experiment? Does it just stay up there on the space station?
No. So once the experiment comes back down, we will be able to measure both, and then that's where the real science comes into play. So once it's come down, that was the easy part. We have to measure the difference between them to see which one has more bacteria, which the coffee killed more bacteria. And so then we can start to figure out if our experiment works, because the whole point is to see if the coffee is killing the bacteria or if it's not doing anything at all in space.
Now that's fascinating. That's really exciting, and you're right. That's real science. This isn't just you guys mixing some chemicals in your high school lab class and seeing what happens and then writing it down in your notebooks. You're conducting real science that's helping the future of space exploration.
Yeah. Let me give some congratulations or kudos to NASA, because they are so committed to inspiring the next generation that is why they intentionally carve out space on the rocket launches for student experiments, and they are actually useful. It's not like, as you pointed out, they are not pretend, they're not just repeating, although that is something you do in science, which is repeat and validate past experiments. But it's they really want kids to feel hands-on and relevant with what they're doing, which is one of iLead's missions, which is why it's a natural fit for us.
It really is that win-win. Our learners get to become active NASA scientists themselves, and NASA's benefiting by the research that they're doing and the different ideas that they come up with. Now, you guys weren't the only ones that presented an experiment to be launched. I was at an event just last week where you guys presented your experiment, but there were dozens and dozens of other learners from SCVi and some of the other iLead schools that presented a wide variety of experiments, and they're looking to hopefully go next year, correct?
So that was for Dream Up 2019, as opposed to our experiment, which was 2018. Unfortunately, we can only have one experiment to go up to the station.
Very limited space, yeah.
Right. It's very costly to send more. So we do have to have a somewhat of a competition, but whoever wins, we try to include as many learners as possible into the whole experiment, into the whole process, and we try to include everyone in the science.
And that's kind of where we come from. We when this experiment was being created, this experiment actually came from two other girls that went to another iLead school. We joined the team. We joined the science team after it had been chosen.
So let me say that is something that I think we do uniquely. Instead of a competition or a contest, we intentionally they choose the best. The panel and the people choose the best experiment for the whole community. Yet, if your experiment didn't win, you don't get aced out. You still get to join the team, and you can still go to Florida. And it's part of the mission of iLead to be as inclusive as possible, because that's how it really works in the real world, anyways, right? When you're in at NASA and you're a scientist in the field, if you happen upon the next best idea for the group, the whole group then gets behind you. So
I noticed that was a beautiful feeling at the Space Expo last week, was this notion. There were over 60 experiments being presented, knowing that there's space for maybe one on next year's mission. Like you said, you really would think that there would be a sense of competition, 60 of us presenting, vying for one spot. But it wasn't that. Like you all said, it was very much a collaborative spirit, because if my group's project doesn't get chosen this year, I will get feedback to perhaps tweak things, make things a little bit more what they call flight worthy, and go back to the drawing board, and I can bring it back in following years. And then what a beautiful thing to hear that you guys kind of merged in with another group from last year, and like scientists like yourselves do, just continue to collaborate and work together.
So the mission of iLead, NanoRacks, NASA, and DreamUp is to inspire. And we just explained how that's happening, or how we hope that's happening. So what I'm wondering from each one of you is, how has this inspired you to in the field, or for your future studies or future career? Each one of you want to take a turn talking about that?
I personally want to go into a computer science or biology fields for college and after. And this was a really great experience working hands-on with experiments that hopefully I'll be doing for the rest of my life and my career.
I'm really interested in this kind of science, and I'm really interested in maybe having a future career at NASA, so being able to see all of this just even more made me more excited and even more enthusiastic about trying to look into this further and get more into this and be able to know what I need to do to get a job at NASA when I'm older.
Funny enough, I'm actually not into biology really. Although I do like space and I like astrophysics, and that's what I want to do. And I just love being able to participate in science and experiment.
And same with me. I'm not as interested in biology as I am other sciences, such as aerospace and that sort of thing. But this is still like a really amazing experience to be involved with this kind of science.
Well, fantastic. The four of you are truly inspiring. Amber, before I came to iLead, I worked for 16 years in public and private education, both here in the U.S. and abroad. And my professional mission was always to prepare my students for when they went into the real world. And when I joined iLead, it was funny. Our learners are different. And I always kind of say it tongue-in-cheek, but they have the audacity to think that they're living in the real world with the rest of us now, and that they can work in the real world and affect the real world today. There's no reason that they have to wait until high school or college graduation to participate. And truly, you guys are a shining example of that. You guys are at the forefront of space exploration today while you're still in high school. So I want to thank you and congratulate you again.
Thank you for being on and for all that you do for the schools and for science.
It's time for a short commercial break again. You're listening to SCVi Charter Schools, Our Way on the Highway. I'm your host, Matt Watson, together with Amber Raskin on your hometown station, KHTS.
Daily Imprints is the premier one-stop shop for custom embroidery, screen printing, and promotional products in the Santa Clarita Valley. Owners Joe and Dana have provided KHTS with quality embroidered company shirts for over 3 years. If it's new business cards or promotional products you need to enhance your image, Daily Imprints is the choice for you. Located on Lyons Avenue, stop by or call today, 661-678-0508.
Hometown.
If you see a traffic problem in our valley and would like to let us know, call the traffic tip line at 298-KHTS. That's 298-5487. 298-KHTS.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Weekends are now exciting in Santa Clarita as Persia Hookah Lounge hosts its House of Entertainment every weekend night from 8 to 11. Thursdays feature a DJ on the hookah patio. Stop by Fridays for performances by Belly Dancer of the Universe winner Jasmina, or Saturdays to hear great local live bands. Persia Lounge also caters for both homes and businesses, starting as low as $8. Discover Persia Hookah Lounge on Main Street, where it's all happening in Old Town Newhall. Persia-lounge.com.
Your hometown station.
It's no secret that KHTS has the best midday talk show lineup around. If you've missed any of your favorites, no problem. KHTS has you covered. Podcasts for all the midday shows can be found right on our website, hometownstation.com. Whether you missed a show from 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years ago, and you want to catch up, we got you covered. They're all right there. Plus extra podcasts too. That's hometownstation.com. hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Comfort Keepers provides your loved one with loving in-home care.
Miles McNamara, certified senior advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers in-home care.
Our caregivers can help you in your own home, enhancing independence, creating safety and comfort. Our Comfort Keepers provide companionship, meal preparation, medication reminders, assistance with personal care, and even transportation to doctor's appointments. If someone you love can use a helping hand at home, visit comfortkeepers.com.
Or call 287-4200.
Who says nothing good happens after midnight? Denny's is best known for their breakfast served round the clock, like the Grand Slam. But you can enjoy breakfast, lunch, or dinner in a casual atmosphere 24/7. At Denny's, the lunch and dinner menu has a variety of appetizers, craveable burgers, salads, and entrees, along with the best desserts in town. Wherever you live in Santa Clarita, there's a Denny's close by. If you're pulling an all-nighter or don't feel like cooking, get into Denny's today. Good stuff is happening at Denny's.
Hey there, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. Gorgeous day today. Sunny skies and a high of 76. Clear tonight with a low of 49. Warmer tomorrow with highs close to 80 degrees. Helping Our Children, Santa Clarita is excited to announce the first ever Christmas toy giveaway in Whoville, Saturday, December 22nd at Elevate Church in downtown Newhall from 4 to 7 p.m. For more information, go to hometownstation.com.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 1220 on the AM dial and FM at 98.1. This is Amber Raskin, and I'm joined by my co-host Matt Watson and Kenchi Ragsdale, who was here in the first part of the show. You're listening to Our Way on the Highway. Welcome back.
We've had a great show so far. It was such an honor to be joined by Councilmember Laurene Weste and talking about the growth of our city and the exciting things happening, and then to see some of the amazing things that the learners at SCVi are doing. And I do want to thank Kenchi for joining us again in the studio.
Sure.
I'd like to talk a little bit about your experience. You know, as we talked with Councilmember Weste, the idea of school choice came about in California a couple of decades ago, but it really hit the Santa Clarita Valley 10 years ago with the opening of SCVi, the Valley's first site-based charter school. Now, Amber, let me ask you, there were other charter schools in the area before SCVi opened, correct?
Yeah, there were only high school, no elementary, and they were not site-based. They were only independent studies. So when I was looking around for an elementary school for my own biological kids that was a little different, I didn't see not only no charters, but not much in the way of choice. Even in district schools, there weren't any. Like now, there's West Creek Academy and some other options, and I didn't see anything. So that is something that I'm actually pretty proud of. Is that not only were we the first site-based school, the first elementary charter school, but we also, I feel like we inspired a lot of choice in the district schools as well.
And the idea of school choice has really evolved. And you're absolutely right. That's a huge word to bring up because, you know, when I was growing up, when we were all growing up, Kenchi, the idea of school and choice, they really didn't fit. You know, I didn't even have a choice when it came to lunch in the middle of the day. It was what the lunch lady was serving. Right. And now we're living in an era where you're absolutely right, Amber. If I live in the area of Saugus High School, but for whatever reason my child chooses to go to Hart High School, I can petition the district, and many kids do that. Or we can choose charter schools. So our families really do have a choice to make, and it's a difficult decision often.
Especially because our district schools are so great here.
Oh, absolutely. But it's beautiful to, you know, kind of walk into the store or to walk into the arena of education and have such an amazing choice. Do I pick this excellent school or this excellent school? You know, many communities don't have much of a choice at all. Now, one of the cool things about charter schools is that the district or the boundaries extend a little bit larger than a district. Kenchi, I know you and your family are from the San Fernando Valley, the Encino area.
Right, yeah. And, you know, I'm from Chicago originally, and there was no choice there. And, you know, what we needed to do when I was a kid was go to private schools, which is what my mom did. And we went to very progressive schools in Chicago. But when we were looking at public schools in San Fernando Valley, we didn't see a lot of that. We saw that in charter schools, and so we applied to a few, and we were like so excited to find iLead Encino, and we're looking for that, project-based learning, hands-on education, and we were super lucky to get in. When that closed last year, we were lucky enough to come here to SCVi in Santa Clarita, and it's been amazing for my son. It's really opened up his opportunities. The classes are a little bit bigger here, and actually that's been good for him. And it's just been amazing to find a new home here. And we're just thrilled to have had this opportunity for our kid.
So you and your family actually commute up from Encino.
Yeah, I have to tell you, though, it's actually less time to get here than it did to get to our house to the Encino campus.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it takes me 23 minutes to get from Van Nuys to here, and it took me 45 in the morning to get to Encino.
Oh, my goodness.
So actually, this is a win-win.
Again, a tribute to thoughtful growth in the 5 freeway coming up that Newhall Pass.
Well, as I mentioned earlier in this show, that it's been such an honor to be part of the landscape of Santa Clarita as it grows, and I do feel like we've been able to serve other communities outside of Santa Clarita, not just San Fernando Valley, but also out west towards Fillmore. We get people from Lancaster and Antelope Valley, and we even have schools up there, but we don't have high schools, a site-based high school up there
yet.
So it's been beautiful to be able to be part of that offering different ways of different styles of school.
And what's beautiful is also the symbiosis, because Kenchi, not only have you found a great school that you can send your son to, but you have brought with you and your family amazing contributions to our school and community.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah.
You really have done an amazing job of bringing the Scarlet Foundation to come support the school. And
when Scarlet Foundation was the fundraising arm at Encino, and when we heard about this opportunity and that school was closing, we decided, or we were invited to come and do what we did there. Last year, even though the school was closing, we raised $85,000, and actually that's been helpful this year coming into SCVi. We were helpful, in kind of funding some stuff already, which is great.
And technically, it wasn't the school that closed; it was a site-based that changed, that closed. One of multiple sites for one school. The school's still open, but but because of a change in the way the law was interpreted, many schools across California were affected by that. However, we are continuing to grow, which which brings me to a point we want to bring up, which is our newest school is iLead Agua Dulce. So we are in a district campus in Agua Dulce.
And it's a beautiful little campus. It's nestled right there in Agua Dulce. And, we think of that as a smaller community. You know what I didn't realize, Amber, when that school opened, is how close it is to Saugus. It's actually closer to my house in Saugus than SCVi is. It's very close to the Northern Canyon Country community. Folks commuting down from Palmdale. It's a perfect shot right off the freeway there. And they just received an amazing grant. This, in their first year, they were given nearly $500,000. I think it was $475,000 grant to open up a makery where our kids can work with their hands, an exploratorium where they can develop different designs that they're thinking about.
What's so incredible about that grant is that when we opened SCVi, we pay for our own facilities out of our general fund. But in Agua Dulce, we get to have the district campus. So to be able to use that grant for exploratoriums and makeries is terrific.
It's very exciting, all the different things happening at our schools. But that's all the time we have for today. We'll talk about it another day. Thank you for listening today. This has been SCVi Charter Schools, Our Way on the Highway on KHTS.
The city of Santa Clarita has so much going on this year.